Sorry, everybody.
You got 15 seconds yet, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Beck. All right. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It was almost patriotic with the bells going off in the middle.
Somebody chimed in.
That's a good touch. Yeah.
Sadly, that might be that's the bells of London, though.
Good morning. Welcome to the June 27th, 2024 meeting of the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. My name is Kevin Cook. I serve as the chair this year. Joining me today is Commissioner Aaron Mays. Good morning.
Good morning.
Commissioner Bill Rippon.
Good morning.
Madam Clerk, Cindy Beck.
Good morning.
Our County Councilor, Mr. Eckert.
Good morning.
Before we begin, I would like to make a notation that there was an addition to the agenda. This came in late. It is added under consent. It is item CC, and it is acknowledging a signature as landlord for the Kansas Children's Discovery Center. This is for a leaseholder mortgage that they are taking out for the addition to the Discovery Center. And they have their closing next Tuesday, and given the timing of it and how quickly it's come on, we needed to add it at the last moment. So I just providing notice that we are adding that item. Also, under item C, it appears that we would be holding the budget hearings as part of the meeting. That actually goes afterwards, so we would close the meeting, so Ms. Beck and her staff don't have to take notes during the entire budget hearing.
We wouldn't do that anyway, so that's okay. We would listen. We would sit and listen, but
But just a note that we will actually close the meeting and then begin the budget hearings that will start today.
so you want items 5, 6, 7 pushed up right after B,
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes. And the last is, I know many of you are here today on the unfinished business of item A. And just before we begin, we have received an email correspondence that came in yesterday evening from the new city manager asking us to potentially defer taking action on the item so that the city may work with the county on this item as well as some other items that are part of the interlocal agreement. But, Madam Clerk, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Okay. First item is item under unfinished business, A, deferred from June 2024 meeting. Consider approval to adopt the 2024 Parks and Recreation Advisory Board bylaws. County Councilor.
Okay. Mr. Rickard, I'm going to turn it over to you as to correspondence that has been received.
Thank you, Commissioners. I can go over the bylaw changes again. We've actually cleaned up the language a bit more since last week. But what has happened in the interim is that we now have dialogue with the city of Topeka. It's been pretty productive. I've talked with Amanda Stanley, the city attorney, more than once about the issue. And then late last night, we have a letter from the city manager officially asking us to not only talk about the bylaws, but to actually talk about the entire interlocal. And I believe that's an excellent idea. The current interlocal, with a couple of its amendments, is 13 years old. And we now have 13 years' experience of running this department. In some ways, that interlocal does handcuff us, on a couple of items. I believe this is a great idea, and it's a great idea that the city brought it up. This is a chance to revisit the interlocal and reassess how everything has been working. Now, that's not a separation of the interlocal. It still exists. A new amendment would only be possible if both sides agree to it. So we're not putting anything in danger by reopening talks. If anything, this is a great idea. So I can't think of a downside to talking with the city manager and the city attorney and talking about the interlocal A to Z as opposed to just these bylaws.
Commissioners, Commissioner Mays, thoughts?
I think it's a good idea. I mean, I want to commend the city manager for reaching out so quickly. I mean, he, I think, just arrived in town a couple days ago, so I think this is a good idea.
Mr. Rippon.
I like the idea. There were some things with the original agreement I was kind of questioned, and may give us a chance to clean up some of the language.
Okay. Then I also concur, there's always been things that I think that the city and the county have seen as maybe in hindsight, they wish they had done differently, but not really had the mechanism to reopen. And this does give us that reopening discussion and dialogue. Deferring this item, is that going to be to the detriment of the county in any way by deferring on this item?
It does not. Any terms that are up, the new board members, if a new board member needed to be appointed, their first board meeting wouldn't be until August anyway.
Okay. We have heard from a number of the Parks and Rec Advisory Board members. I note that many of them are here today. We've also had input from past board members as well as individuals within City Council. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming here. Thank you for your work on the advisory board and all that you do. It wouldn't work without you. And I hope that you are not too frustrated by a motion to defer taking action on this item. So I'm not seeing any protests at large, so.
And the only thing I would add is that as we have these discussions with the city, we will definitely keep the advisory board in the loop. We might even pull them into a meeting or two to get their ideas. So we'll work with the advisory board while we go through this process.
I think that would be an excellent, having that insight from the advisory board members that have been working on this for a number of years, and they are very much intimately aware of some of the strengths and opportunities within the department. So at this time, then I will make a motion to defer action on item 2A for a date to be determined at a later time.
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? It passes 3-0. Thank you. Madam Clerk, our next item.
Next item 3, consent agenda.
I think everybody thought this was a great opportunity to put your items on consent. It's been a while since we've gotten to CC on consent. I would note, though, many of the items relate to 2 events within Parks and Recreation. One of those being Spirit of Kansas, and if you're not aware, Spirit of Kansas is out at Lake Shawnee this year, and suggesting by the consent agenda, we have a number of acts and performers and entertainment for the community to take part in. Also at the Great Overland Station, we have an event that's coming up. And so if you are a fan of Harry Potter or science and fantasy, this might be an excellent opportunity for you to check that out as well, a number of entertainment. So is there a motion or is there a discussion?
I'll make a motion, but I also did want to point out item C. It's my appointment of Terry Robinson to the Planning Commission. I had a chance to visit with him a week or 2 ago, and very qualified home builder. Has been doing business in Northeast Kansas for a long time. He's also very involved with the National Association of Home Builders and then the local chapter as well. So I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion to approve the consent agenda by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 4, new business, A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
All right, bear with me, this is a longer one. The vouchers today total $6,346,459.24. The items of note on here under sewer districts, $506,885.63 to MCON Incorporated. That's for the Sherwood Improvement Project of the pump stations and whatnot out there. Then under infrastructure, $199,321.65 to the Sunflower Paving. It's for the pavement replacement on Northwest 46th Street. Under equipment fund, $300,539 to Tiger Mowers LLC. That's for 2 New Holland side mount mowers. Then under bridge project, $453,483.54 to King Construction. And then one more bridge, $222,310.89 to WCI Incorporated. Aside from those, I don't have any questions or concerns and would move approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B, Facilities Management Number 1, consider awarding a bid to ChemTreat, Inc. for water treatment equipment and chemicals at the courthouse per proposal RFP 025-24, and authorization and execution of contract C225-2024 for same.
Good morning, Commissioners. Nelda Henning, Director of Facilities Management. As read by the clerk, we are requesting a contract with ChemTreat for water treatment chemicals, for equipment and chemicals for the new boiler and cooling towers that were installed this summer at the courthouse. The contract will be for $29,664 per year. That includes the chemicals and rental of the equipment. It is a 3-year contract with the option of 2 one-year extensions to the contract for a total of 5 years. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
For clarification, this is not for the drinking or public consumption of the water.
No, this is for the HVAC system, cooling and heating.
Okay. And what is the need of this? Is it to keep make the operation of the machine work better, or?
So the water, when it comes into the building, comes in with chemicals for people to drink and such. But what happens is as it runs through the system, it separates out and starts corroding the piping in the system for the hot water side. And on the cold water side, we're actually seeing algae forming on the chiller right now. So these chemicals balance the water back out, keep the pipes from corroding, and keep the algae in check.
Okay.
And makes it lengthens the lifetime of the equipment.
Okay. And the installation of this, getting this activated so that we can protect our equipment?
Yes, we need to get it done as soon as possible.
So-
As I said, we're seeding algae in the water as it's.
So if we approve it today, what would be our installation?
Until we get the contract, they won't say. It'll be sometime in July.
Okay. Any other questions? Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Now we have got an approved contract.
Thank you.
All right. Our next item.
Item 5, public comment.
This is an opportunity for anybody to speak. Mr. McClure, you are signed up.
Good morning, Henry McClure. How are y'all today? Thank you. Good to see y'all. Man, I didn't know it was going to be such an important meeting. I have to run today because I intend on giving up my real estate license in the future, so there would never be an appearance of a conflict of interest saying I was just sitting in that seat. So over the years, I've groused over the fact that the chamber and Go Topeka have an inherent conflict of interest being involved with the sales tax money. And as you consider the budgets coming up, I hope that you consider that law enforcement is going to be economic development in the future. And I see the millions of dollars that's just doled out willy-nilly like the United Way from Go Topeka, and the exorbitant overhead of $3.5 million to run a giveaway. And if it were a business seeking a grant, you wouldn't fund it. If it was a business seeking a loan, you wouldn't fund it when you look at the actual budget and the good they've done. Because the basis of the economic development was to grow the tax base and the population, and it's not done that. But today with the open border, every state's a border state. And what's going on down there in Texas and across the southern border to California, it's going to make us more unsafe. And if we would just stop trying to be somebody else, and if we just made it nice and safe for us to live in Shawnee County, that's all we got to do. And we need to take economic development that you're wasting on Go Topeka and make sure that law enforcement has money to keep us safe. As a matter of fact, in the future, it would probably make sense to have the sheriff or a designee of the sheriff sit on JETO. 3 county commissioners, 3 city council people, and the sheriff or his designee to control the money for economic development and the joint stuff you should be doing today by interlocal agreement. Because it's going to be the key role to our safety. And maybe the sheriff's department does it better than Topeka Police Department. But maybe there's a way they can come together that maybe we haven't thought about. And if the sheriff and his department had more control or input into actually where the funds are going to make it safe. And the nice thing about the sheriff, he's an elected official. So everybody in Shawnee County would have a say in his position. And it's going to be crucial to our future. So I love your idea about putting the planning commissions back together. I hope we can actually do it and work on it. There's no reason to wait a day longer. You know, we can create the 3rd planning commission like state statute says. But there's been some people commented about, well, you're just really getting into it to enrich your real estate business. So I'm willing to send my license back to the state of Kansas and retire as a real estate person to do the people's work. But consider going forward, please, that our public safety is economic development besides good streets, because basically that's where the role of government, there isn't anything more important than having good public services and safety. So thank you for your time today. I hope you're generous to our law enforcement people.
Any other persons wanting to speak? Seeing none, our next item.
Item 6, administrative communications.
This is an opportunity for any county department head or member of the county to speak on any item. Commissioner Rippon,
I have nothing more to add.
Commissioner Mays.
I don't have anything to add.
All right, Madam Clerk,
Item 7, executive session.
there is not a need for an executive session, so we would be adjourned.